my brother Jay, he told me, he was like, I'm not sure if this baby's even mine anyway.
Why would he say that? He's the one that wanted it too.
His brother said to you direct, I don't know if this is my child.
I don't believe that.
Why am I looking at your phone and you got nude pictures going to your ex? Why you ain't with that ex?
Miss Tillis, were you sending naked pictures to your ex while you were living in his house?
I was.
This married man's good time, girl, so whenever his wife kicks him out the house, he can come over my house and we can make babies, and then that is not your dream for your life.
Somebody called a Karen? Ms. Cameron kicks things off by introducing her situation, explaining the death of her partner and the urgent need to establish paternity for her child to secure death benefits. She emphasizes how crucial these benefits are for supporting her family. It's like an episode of a soap opera, but with real-life stakes.
Miss Cameron, you tragically lost the love of your life 3 years ago and now find yourself standing before me fighting that he is your child's biological father. You claim you desperately need to determine paternity so that you can file for the death benefits to support your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Melvin throws a curveball and expresses her belief that Ms. Cameron is fibbing about the paternity of her child to unjustly snag those death benefits. She claims to have a truckload of evidence to back up her accusation. It's getting spicy now.
You say your brother is not father, and you claim you have more than enough evidence to prove Ms. Cameron is lying about who her child's father is. You believe she's trying to receive death benefits she is not entitled to. So, Ms. Melvin, tell me, what upsets you most about the situation Ms. Cameron finds herself in today?
Feel the tension in the air? Ms. Cameron discusses the heavy emotional toll of the day's proceedings, emphasizing how the father's name missing from her child's birth certificate complicates her quest for death benefits. You can cut the tension with a knife.
So,
Yes.
you say today's court date is very important.
Yes, because his father's name is not on this birth certificate.
Let me see the birth certificate.
And that breaks my heart because my father's on my birth certificate. He's on my other child's birth certificate, so
because he's not on the birth certificate, this child, is it Malachi?
yes.
Is not entitled to death benefits.
No, because they said I have no proof.
The plot thickens. Ms. Cameron dives deep into her past, recounting her relationship with the deceased, detailing how they met, their life events together, and plans for their kiddos, all to reinforce her claim of his paternity. Grab your popcorn, because this drama isn't cooling down anytime soon.
Please tell me about your relationship with the deceased.
I was 19 when I met him, and it just started off from there. Like, we was attached to the hip from that point on. I got pregnant with my first child within 2 months of being in, and we went and got these pictures done like a month after we got together because we fell in love from, like, it was love at first sight, which nobody knew about that, only me and him, because we didn't want, just in case I did not get pregnant, I did not want.
Here's a plot twist. As proof of paternity, Ms. Cameron points to the striking resemblance between her older child and the deceased, suggesting a strong genetic link. If you thought it was intense before, just wait for what's next.
Like, he does look like me because I guess I got strong genes, but he looks like Jack.
So you have an older child together?
Yes.
And then you planned for the next one?
Yes, because I was like an only child and it was not fun. I wanted someone for my other child to play with. So I went and talked to Mr. Rathert, so he was like, okay, we can go ahead and try, just let's keep it under wrap.
Miss Melvin, during this time, your brother's in a relationship with Miss Cameron. You know about her, right?
Correct.
The drama escalates. Ms. Melvin shares a tale about the deceased doubting the paternity based on a past STD incident, cranking up the dispute over the child's paternity to a whole new level. This courtroom drama is turning into a full-blown thriller.
And so I'm like, oh, okay. I said, go up there and get tested. Take her to get tested. And he said they both got treated.
Made you believe she was cheating on
Correct.
him because of this situation.
The situation.
Is that what happened?
I found out I had the STD when I was pregnant with my daughter. So we don't know who that came from because he was out in the streets, his lifestyle.
Family began to believe you weren't just sleeping with their brother.
Correct.
More twists? Absolutely. Upon hearing about Ms. Cameron's pregnancy, Ms. Melvin expresses doubts and recalls her brother's shaky reaction, adding more layers to this tangled narrative. Things are about to get even more convoluted.
The next week he passed away.
And how did you find out?
I went downstairs to go to the bathroom and I came back upstairs to go to bed and he was snoring before I went downstairs. So I didn't think nothing of it. When I came back upstairs, he was not snoring because of the lifestyle he was living. Every night I would put my hand on his back to make sure he was still breathing. At the time I put my hand on his back, he was already gone. His lips was purple.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more dramatic, Ms. Melvin recounts a pivotal conversation with her brother at the hospital, where he voiced doubts about the paternity of the upcoming child. The suspense is building, and you'll want to hear what comes next.
I had to take my brother to walk away. We walked over to my brother Jay. He told me, he was like, I'm not sure if this baby's even mine anyway.
Why would he say that? He's the one that wanted it too.
His brother said to you direct, I don't know if this is my child.
I don't believe that, because he was excited when I told him that I was pregnant. He jumped up and down saying, please God, let it be a boy. I need a boy in my life.
This is heart-wrenching. Ms. Cameron describes interpreting signs in ultrasound images as indications of the deceased's presence and support, showcasing her emotional state and hope for confirmation of his connection to their child. The emotional roller coaster isn't over yet.
In this courtroom, I handle paternity. So this is beyond my area to refute. Listen, they say when people pass to the next level of life and living that they don't leave us. So if that's what you see, I am not the one that's gonna tell you you don't. So Miss Melvin, when you look at that, do you feel like maybe your brother was sending a sign that he was still with Miss Cameron?
I don't.
Here comes the big reveal. The judge finally drops the bombshell. The DNA test results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Miss Duhamel is related Malachi Raptor.
Jesus. Thank you. Now do you believe me?
I guess.
I was being honest with you.
Mr. Abbott throws down the paternity challenge after Ms. Lassio drops a bombshell about her steamy weekend fling, coincidentally around Easter. The crowd's reaction, total disapproval. It's a soap opera moment right there, putting Mr. Abbott's doubts about being the daddy front and center. Just wait, the story takes an even more dramatic turn next. You'll want popcorn for this.
She had messed up and she had slept with the other dude, that this could possibly not be my child. And I asked her, what do you mean? She told me that I could only be the possibility, but right when she got her first ultrasound, she found out the conception date, and it was Easter. She slept with him and me that Easter weekend.
Did that really just unfold before our eyes? In a plot twist you didn't see coming, Ms. Lassio spills the tea on her little escapade. She reached out to an old flame during a rough patch with Mr. Abbott, leading to a one-night reunion. This juicy bit is crucial as it sets up the big question. Who's the daddy? You won't believe what's revealed in the next segment. Hang on to your seats, folks.
So when I was hanging out with one of my friends and I reached out to another guy, and whenever I reached out to him, we ended up hooking up. Hooked up one time, and then I was back together with Jake.
And when you say hook up, that means you had sex.
Yes.
Did you use protection?
No, we did not.
What a shocking development. Mr. Abbott's world turns upside down when he finds out about Ms. Lassio's secret rendezvous through a buddy and a dubious social media account. Talk about drama. His trust is in pieces, and he's rethinking everything about their romance, underlining just how hurt he feels and the betrayal that could rewrite their future. Keep watching. The tension escalates further.
She sat there and lied to me the whole time, saying she didn't do anything. There's nothing to worry about. I wouldn't do this to us. And I sat there and I did my little investigation a few hours after she went to bed on her phone, found a fake Facebook, got into it, and found out everything. And that's when I woke her up and said, gonna sit here and deny it now when I have the proof.
The drama's just heating up. Hard to imagine it getting more intense than this. Judge Lake gets all detective on them, diving into the nitty-gritty of who was with whom and when around the baby-making weekend. Ms. Lassio confirms the overlap in cuddle times with both Mr. Abbott and the other guy, stirring up a big old pot of paternity confusion. The emotional stakes are about to get even higher. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride.
The doctor told you your conception date was when?
Easter weekend.
Easter weekend, so that's April.
It was in between like April 16th through April 23rd.
To the 23rd is the window of conception.
Yes.
When were you intimate with Mr. Abbott?
I was intimate with Mr. Abbott before the window of conception and on the 20th, and then after as well.
How will they navigate this emotional labyrinth? Now it's all about the feels as the convo shifts to the bond Mr. Abbott has with the kiddo amidst the daddy drama. Ms. Lassio is all in, betting on biological ties, while Mr. Abbott loves the little one but is hanging by a thread without DNA proof. The next part of the story is truly unexpected. You think it's wild now? Just wait.
There's nowhere in the biology book that says intention is a prerequisite for conception. How do you know that this other man is not your baby's father?
The way that Jake is with her, I believe that's only something a father and daughter can have. I know there's step-parents out there that have great relationships with their children. The way that she'll throw a fit until her dad will look down at her and pick her up, father and daughter relationship, that's their bond.
This moment is absolutely pivotal. Boom, Judge Lake drops the mic.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Abbott, you are not her father. I'm so sorry.
In a dramatic courtroom opener, Ms. Tillis lays down the law by declaring that Mr. Jalek, the so-called defendant, not only got her pregnant, but is now ghosting her and their adorable 2-month-old son, Jadance, pushing her right into financial drama land. She's super confident that today's DNA test is going to pin the paternal badge right on Mr. Jalek's lapel. Just wait until you see what happens next.
Ms. Tillis, you claim the defendant got you pregnant and now refuses to do anything for your 2-month-old son, Jadance, leaving you in financial distress. You claim today's DNA test will prove that he is Jadance's father.
Seriously, can you believe this guy? Mr. Jalek snaps back, totally adamant that he isn't the father. He's got some medical papers to wave around, which he thinks will clear his name, setting up a showdown you won't want to miss. The room's heating up, and the next part, oh, it's juicy.
You say you are 100% certain you are not her child's biological father and have medical evidence to support your claim. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Tillis, you say the defendant's paternity denial has left you in financial trouble?
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain.
The day my son was born, he has done nothing for my child.
Nothing?
Nothing at all.
Not a dollar?
Not a dollar.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Ms. Tillis isn't holding back. She dives deep into the tough life of a single mom, battling through her postpartum blues and a shrinking wallet. It's real talk with tears and all, showing just how messy life can get behind the legalities. And guess what? It gets even more real from here.
And you're doing this all by yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me, how is this affecting you?
It hurts. Before I was pregnant with Jadance, I was having issues that I told Mr. Jalek about. I was hoping that he would be there for me, but he turned his back on me.
Mr. Jalek, did you turn your back on the baby?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Tillis and Mr. Jalek were college buddies, starting off all casual with some friendly hair braiding sessions that turned into something, well, a bit more tangled. It's the perfect setup for today's courtroom drama. You'll want to stick around for the next chapter.
I was going to college for my associates in business where I met Miss Tillis. And at that time, I had long hair, so she was at school for nursing at the time, but she's a cosmetologist also. She started braiding my hair, and she started lightweight spending nights with me at my home. I had a 3-bedroom house. She used to come over.
I moved in with him.
Wait a minute, she said she moved in. Did she move in, or were you just braiding and bedding?
That's what it was.
It was both, but over time, I moved in with him.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more twisted, Ms. Tillis drops a bombshell. She was sending nudes to her ex while still shacking up with Mr. Jalek. Talk about stirring the pot and complicating who the daddy might be. Don't go anywhere. This roller coaster's only going up.
Why am I looking at your phone and you got nude pictures going to your ex? Why you ain't with that ex?
Miss
That's why I feel
Tillis, were you sending naked pictures to your ex while you were living in his house?
I was. But only because he had females coming over to the house.
Do you believe she was also having sex with someone else during the window of time that Jadance was conceived?
It's very possible, Your Honor, because I said we've been doing this off and on since 2011.
Buckle up, because Ms. Tillis is about to lay down a timeline that's as confusing as trying to solve a Rubik's Cube in the dark. She's got dates that totally mess with Mr. Jalek's version of events, turning the paternity debate into a full-blown battle of the calendars. You won't believe the twist coming up.
This is the conception date that the sonogram lady gave me. Me and Mr. Jalek messed around in October.
More like early September.
No,
this
it was
around the time she got
it
a car.
was
She
in the
got
middle of
to
October.
work with
The
home
end of
health.
October, I messed with the other man without protection.
Do you agree with that,
The end
Mr.
of
Jalek?
October,
No.
it was the other man.
No, ma'am.
And here comes Mr. Jalek with a plot twist of his own. He's talking about some wild genetic trait that's supposed to be a family exclusive. And guess what? Little Jadance supposedly doesn't have it. This part's like a scene from a detective show where the missing clue is right under your nose. The suspense is building.
It's a handsome child that she has, but he doesn't have the trait that me, my father, nor my sons have.
It's a pre-auricular sinus.
Yes, ma'am.
Pre-auricular sinuses are inherited. And also, one study says the incidence of pre-auricular sinuses in the United States is estimated to be 0 to 0.9%. Very rare.
Yes, ma'am.
So 3 generations of men in the family have this trait.
Yes, Your Honor.
Enter Dr. Samantha Brown Parks, the genetic guru, who's here to throw some science into the mix. She's unpacking all the DNA stuff that could turn this case on its head. It's like a biology class, but with way more at stake. Make sure your lab goggles are on, because the results are about to explode.
But I do know from the evidence you presented that it's very rare. So I'd like to bring in Dr. Samantha Brown Parks, our expert, to hear more about this. Jerome, will you please escort the doctor in?
Go up on the witness stand right next to the judge. Watch your step.
Hello, doctor.
Hi, Your Honor.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Sure.
Here it comes, the moment of truth. The DNA results are in, and bam.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jalek, you are the father.
So here's the scoop. Miss Whalen admits to a relationship with Mr. LeBlanc, a married man, and claims he is the father of her 2-year-old son, Vincent. Mr. LeBlanc is determined to prove otherwise to save his marriage, while Mrs. LeBlanc states the marriage will end if the DNA test is positive. It's like a real-life soap opera, folks.
Ms. Whalen, you admit you've been in a sexual relationship with Mr. LeBlanc, a married man, and claim he is the father of your 2-year-old son, Vincent Whalen. Mr. LeBlanc, you are determined to prove that you are not father of Miss Whalen's son in hopes of saving your marriage. Mrs. LeBlanc, you are at your breaking point and say if the DNA proves your husband is the father, your marriage is over.
Now, get this. Miss Whalen details the moment she found out she was pregnant and shared the news with Mr. LeBlanc. He reacts with disbelief and concern about how to break the news to his wife, reflecting his anxiety and the complicated nature of their relationship. I mean, talk about drama overload.
Asked me to take him. He sat on side my bed holding his head. When I took the first one, I gave it to him and it showed that I was pregnant. And he still sat there and said, oh man, this can't be true. This can't be true. You can't be pregnant. And it was only because he didn't know how he was gonna go back and tell his wife that I was pregnant.
Well, he was only there for a while, though.
You told him you were pregnant, you proved
you
it,
wasn't
you
sleeping
took the
with
test, and he
nobody.
said, oh my goodness.
You wasn't
So,
sleeping with
hold
nobody
on.
up here.
Sleep with.
Do this.
You do that.
Do this.
Because it's like you
Do
sleep
this.
sleep with her.
Ladies,
So you
ladies,
better be-
ladies.
Plot twist incoming. Mrs. LeBlanc reveals she learned of the pregnancy through a text message from her husband, which included the phrase, I can't believe I did this to you again, hinting at past infidelities and the ongoing issues in their marriage. Yikes, that text must have been a doozy.
He sent you a text.
A text. No phone call.
A phone call's not even good enough
I
for
need
that.
to see you face to face. Can I speak with you face to face? None of that. It was through a text message.
What did the text say?
The text message stated, I can't believe I did this to you again. Again.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any juicier, it is revealed that Mr. LeBlanc has previously fathered another child, Jaden, with Miss Whalen, indicating a recurring pattern of betrayal and complicating the family dynamics further. Seriously, this guy's making quite the habit out of this.
So wait a minute, there was another time?
Yes, ma'am. Prior to Vince, there was Jaden.
Who's the mother of that child?
I am. That's my 3-year-old.
Mr. LeBlanc, really? We all make mistakes in life, some more serious than others, but to make the exact same mistake again?
And that's, Your Honor, why I didn't want at that time when she was telling me about Vincent, her being pregnant with Vincent.
Hold on to your hats, Keisha. Mr. LeBlanc's wife expresses doubts about Vincent's paternity, citing Miss Whalen's promiscuity and the complex emotional landscape surrounding the ongoing affair. It's like every minute there's a new bombshell.
No, Your Honor, I do not.
Why?
Her promiscuity. Promiscuous, very promiscuous. Like I said, the male man, not only that, you're sleeping with a married man.
You ain't gotta sleep with a married
hold on.
man if he
So
come
why
to
not?
me. You ain't
Why
gotta sleep
not?
with a married
Why
man
not?
if he come to you.
Why not?
Hold on.
He came to you because you were easy. It's
Hold on,
easy.
Miss LeBlanc.
He couldn't do what he wanted to do.
Is your husband's biological child. You're saying that this marriage is over?
Yes.
You're finally done?
I'm at my breaking point.
And there's more. Mrs. LeBlanc articulates her exhaustion and despair, signaling that she is close to ending the marriage if the paternity test for Vincent is affirmative, underscoring her emotional turmoil. Stay tuned, because this roller coaster hasn't hit the brakes yet.
You all have children together as well, am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
How many children do you have?
2.
So you say you are at the point now that you would break your family up because you've just had enough. And you understand that, Mr. LeBlanc.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Is that why you're not acknowledging and claiming the paternity of Vincent the way you did Jaden, because you're afraid your wife is gonna leave?
No, ma'am, it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with my wife leaving. It comes about, okay, look at the name Vincent. Who is Vincent? Where'd she get the name Vincent from?
Grab your popcorn. Miss Whalen's grandmother testifies, believing Mr. LeBlanc is the father based on his presence and involvement during the relevant period, adding a generational perspective to the discussion. Grandma's stepping into the ring now, folks.
Did you know that already?
No.
You heard it in court for the first time?
Yes.
And now that you've heard that, does that change how you feel about the situation?
Well, if she come out and he's not, Mr. LeBlanc's not the father, then I just know my granddaughter was a sneaky little hoe that bypassed me, and I didn't catch that. But I honestly don't believe that. See, whores sleep around. Whores leave their husband and go sleep with other men.
Let's turn up the heat. The judge discusses the broader implications of Mr. LeBlanc's actions, focusing on the emotional and familial strain caused by his infidelities and the presence of multiple children from different relationships. It's like a telenovela with legal briefs.
Ms. Whalen, I don't know how long you gonna stand around here being good time girl.
Oh, I'm not.
I don't know. I know you weren't sitting on the porch as a little girl playing with your dolls talking about, when I grow up, I want to be this married man's good time girl, so whenever his wife kicks him out the house, he can come over my house and we can make babies, and then that is not your dream for your life. You will never convince me of that.
Here comes the mic drop moment, the climactic moment when the DNA results are read.
It has been determined by this court Mr. LeBlanc, you are the father.